It's your girl Bengali Black coming at you live from Bengali Black Studios. So guys, it shouldn't take a rocket scientist to see what we're talking about today. That's right guys, we're talking about video games. Now, I'm not a gamer myself, but I know plenty of gamers who would really appreciate this episode, including my boyfriend Trini. So on today's episode, we're going to get right into the history. Grab your controllers and let's jump to it right here on Not Your Typical News. Okay, let's jump into some history. Since the beginning of human existence, our species have enjoyed various forms of entertainment. The invention of board games is obviously one of the earliest influences of our modern-day video games. Around 3500 BCE, ancient Egyptians enjoyed a board game called Senet. Senet was played on a narrow board and had pieces similar to chess. While the exact rules of the game remain unknown, one thing is clear: our love of games has remained for centuries. Video games in their earliest form have been around since the 50s and were invented in the research labs of scientists. Because the invention of games mostly came about as a hobby for students, we really have no idea how many of the games actually existed or who actually created the first one. We can trace a few of these early games to the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, or as it's commonly known, MIT. One of the first interactive games to be created by the MIT students was the famously complicated game of tic-tac-toe. Now imagine playing that over live. Games continued to evolve, and in 1962, a revolutionary new digital game hit the market, and its name was Space War. Back in those days, computers were only available in labs, but scientists wanted them to become an everyday item, so Steve Russell answered the call. His invention of Space War was the pioneer of stand-up arcade games. Its success inspired other scientists to continue to develop gaming technologies. The emergence of the arcade helped to make video games mainstream and accessible to everyone. The coin-operated machines created a huge blooming industry that found its way trickling into pop culture. The success of games like Pac-Man and Atari's Pong pushed engineers to start developing at-home consoles. The first console that was made for commercial distribution was the Magnavox Odyssey in 1972. To many gaming historians, this game system is called the brown box, and it was an analog system that ran on batteries. Although it initially enjoyed some mild success, it couldn't blossom because consumers believed it could only work on Magnavox televisions. Although it eventually fizzled out, it proved that an at-home gaming system was possible, and 3 years later, Atari would piggyback on the idea. Atari had already seen tremendous success with its coin-operated game Pong, so they decided to redesign it to work on at-home televisions. They partnered with Sears, who marketed them so well that sales skyrocketed during the Christmas of 1975. Magnavox continued to develop its technology and eventually created a console that had 2 different games, a concept that was revolutionary at the time. Up until this time, game systems could only support 1 game at a time, and changing games was thought to be impossible, but one man was about to change it all. Jerry Lawson was a self-taught engineer from Queens, New York. He was raised by his mother and father, who inspired him to be the best that he could be despite the obstacles before him. His father, who worked at the docks by day and read science magazines by night, influenced Jerry's interest in engineering. His mother, who worked for the city, was determined to get him the best education possible, so she sent him to a school in another neighborhood. It was no surprise that a better education equaled a less melanated learning environment, but luckily Jerry's teachers were very supportive. In the 1st grade, his teacher posted a picture of George Washington Carver by his desk and told him, "This could be you," words that continued to ring through his ears on his journey to greatness. Jerry proved to be highly intelligent from a young age, building and repairing electronics from around the city and even constructing and operating a radio station out of his home. He found out that if you lived in project housing, you could easily obtain a radio license, so he capitalized on it. Although he attended Queens College and CCNY, he never received a formal degree, and yet he was still able to find work at well-respected companies. He eventually got a job at Fairchild Semiconductor Inc., a technology company known for thinking outside the box. At the time, there weren't many black engineers, so Jerry had to be twice as good to keep up with his white counterparts. This wasn't hard because Jerry's sharp and creative brain soon found a way to innovate the arcade industry by creating a game that stopped kids from jerry-rigging the machines for free games. This was a problem that his old friend and Pong creator Alan Alcorn complained about. Jerry enjoyed this so much that he continued to develop games as a hobby, something that nearly got him fired. Fairchild heard about his side work and thought he would have the audacity to take his technology and branch out on his own, which he totally could have. Instead, they contracted him to continue to develop his gaming technology for them secretly. He created the Channel F console, a revolutionary device that had cartridges that you could switch in and out to change the games. Up until this point, most engineers thought this was impossible and could cause an explosion, but Jerry figured it out. Jerry Lawson went on to create his own gaming company, but the technology he created at Fairchild became the foundation of the Sony and Nintendo systems we play today. Unfortunately, Jerry Lawson never received credit during the height of his career, and it wasn't until 2011 that the tech world would finally acknowledge his contribution, only 1 month before he lost his battle with diabetes at 70 years old. It's a shame that Jerry Lawson never received the credit he was due, but that's why we have to give people their roses while they can still smell them. Most people had never even heard of Jerry Lawson until another black leader in the gaming industry, Joseph Salter, led the charge to have him included in the conversation. If this has taught us anything, it's that we have to fight for our own history so that we won't continue to be written out. Today, the video game industry is worth billions and has a whole culture of its own. New technology is constantly being developed to enhance the gaming experience. My favorite is the Kinect, which allows me to burn calories while having fun. One of the best things about video games is playing them with the ones you love. After all, who doesn't love a bit of unity? Although there are some negative stigmas affiliated with playing video games, studies show that playing them can improve coordination and help with problem solving. A recent study even says that playing video games could reduce your stress tremendously. So next time you're having a rough day, consider picking up that controller and getting your game on. Okay guys, I hope you enjoyed playing with me on today's video game edition of Not Your Typical News. For more information on anything you've heard here today, please visit the links below in my description and let me know in the comments what video games you think I enjoy. Okay guys, it looks like it's my turn on the video game, so I'm going to catch you guys next time for some great food, some great fun, and some great history. See you guys next time. Hey Trini, it's my turn. Alright guys, bye!